Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan with good news. That's remember that segment I used to do? Good news with Tony and Joan. We're going to do it. We're going to look back on 2024 and talk about positive things and get psyched for the new year. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 13 available at amazon.com. Don't forget Kindle Unlimited is free. Very positive this video is going to be. I've done 3 takes so far, but I'll get it. I'll get it. I tried to use the Wikipedia timeline. God, that was awful. It was just god awful. Everything's so political. It took me a while, but I think I found a timeline that I can talk about, and it's not political, Joe. But I decided if I can't find something in the timeline, I'll just talk about good things that happened to me. And I think you could relate. I mean, I'm not in like the greatest shape in the world as any human being, but some nice things. I have a low bar for nice things. I like little things that are pleasant. So, for instance, the blueberry harvest was very good this year, and so was the tomato harvest. Oh, the tomatoes in South Jersey were outstanding this year. Outstanding. My father grew some. They were amazing. I couldn't eat enough tomatoes this year. I'm missing them now. I had some tomatoes 2 nights ago, and they were like, meh, flavorless compared to Jersey tomatoes. Ugh. But so let's get into it, and maybe you can think while I'm blathering away about some of the positive things that happened to you. Maybe you can put them in the comments, and we can have a nice positive video. So how did I start the year? I started the year with WildCon, which I'm doing again this year, and pleasantly surprised that I sold as many books as I did at WildCon. That was the first big positive of the year. It also wasn't that cold. We've been having a very mild winter again. That's been great. Although I hear we're going to get some snow this year, but so far haven't really even seen a whisper of snow here in South Jersey. I know in other parts of the country that's not true, but here, man, it's 50 some odd degrees today, and I think it's going to be in the 50s tomorrow. I'm doing a signing tomorrow. Where am I doing a signing? I'm the last signing of the year. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be 53, and it's going to be mid 40s all week here. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I did WildCon at the Wildwood Boardwalk Convention Center there. And the only downside of it, I was set across some animatronic puppets that said the same thing over and over again. And that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part were the guys who set them up, because they were originally Chuck E. Cheese animatronics, but they gutted the robots and replaced their skin and re-recorded their voices, but I guess they kept the same movements. And but it took them literally half the day to get them ready. So by the time they were ready, the con was mostly over. And then they let them go for a while, and then they took them down early. To which I said, why didn't you guys get here like 4 hours ahead of time? But anyhow, I found it amusing. So I had a good month. That was January. February, again, it wasn't all that cold, which was nice. I think we had a little bit of snow last February, if I'm remembering correctly. But I also remember it got so hot I had to put on shorts in February for like 2 days, and then it got so cold I had to go back to pants. I sort of jumped the gun there. And throughout the year, I was doing shows enough so I could survive, which is novel for me. I know, it's such a low bar, right? Oh, you survived. That doesn't seem like very happy. Oh, it was very happy. That I was surviving on my books and my freelancing was a super happy time. Super happy time. I had a little bit money left over from last year, but I was worried. It was a real worry for me that would I sell enough books to even survive the year? And I did. So it was very exciting. Then let's see. Oh, also in February 1st, Tom Brady retired again, which was nice for him, I guess. He's still retired, right? I mean, he probably should be at this point. If I were him, I'd retire. He should probably like coach. He's like the greatest football player ever, and I have to say that. I mean, it's just objectively true. Um, LeBron James broke the all-time highest score in the National Basketball Association. So good for him. I mean, I don't like LeBron, but it shows you, he's a good basketball player. All right, so then we're into March. Uh, so nothing really on this timeline all that positive. But March for me means Lines in the Pines down at Stockton College, and that's I also call it PineyCon because all the Piney authors come out, including me, and we sell our Piney stuff. And it was interesting to do. It was more fun to walk around than it was to sell stuff because normally I do these shows and I don't have any competition in terms of the kind of stuff I sell, right? I'm selling the Pineys. I'm talking about the Jersey Devil. It's local folklore. Everybody knows it here. And so I normally am the only guy doing that. But then I was in a room full of everybody was doing that. So it was kind of a unique experience. I had to sort of change the way I sort of present myself a little bit. So that was interesting. And then there was a little dinner afterwards. I went to that. That was fun. Then in April, SpaceX launched their giant rocket. It exploded after takeoff, but as Elon has said many times, this is part of the process. For them, it was unmanned. And they're studying various stressors on the rocket and everything. So this is definitely progress into getting a Starship up in the space and launching back and forth from Mars to Earth and Earth to Mars and whatnot. So that I think is a net positive. The Tesla stock, and this is not financial advice, went up. I mean, it had been down. It's finishing the year up for me. So I only have like 3 shares, I think. But that's nice. I mean, the twos of dollars I have in my stock portfolio, it's actually up for a change, which is nice. I'm half tempted to dump it all because who the hell knows what's going to happen in the future. But I'm being positive. Um, so there's that. I don't know if any of you have stock. I don't really understand it. It's like gambling. But April. What did I do in April? Oh, I do a book fest in Flemington. I think that's in April, and I see my friend Steve, who's a horror writer there, and I see him. I see him throughout the year at various events, but I almost always see him at that one, and that's a good show for me. It's nice. It's outside. They treat me very well there. I believe I met the I Heart Horror guys there. I'll be doing their second Sayreville show in February, and they're a bunch of nice guys. I did their show in June. It didn't go off quite the way they wanted it to. There were a couple of factors, but it was a nice day. I had a good time. I was very fortunate this year that I was selling steady enough that I could afford a show here and there where they didn't really sell that much. I mean, I sold a few books, but I didn't sell that much. But I think I'll do better in the February show because the June show had bands, and people seem to be focused on that. And the February show, I think, will be more focused on the books, and so I think that'll be a good show. They'll be more focused on the horror and the books and fun stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with the bands. I think we were like competing a little bit. So, but it was nice weather. It was very nice weather. So that was April. Then June rolled around, and normally in June I do. That starts kind of the summery events. I mean, that's still spring, but the summery events start to book up. I do Moods Farm every year. I do the blueberry festivals every year. They hit in July, but that's when I usually start booking them right around June. Um, and the weather's nice in June. Uh, and it was most my streak from the previous year continued, that most of the weekends were clear and I was able to go outside. Didn't get rained out much in the summer of 2023, so thankful for that. um, Depending on how you look at it, a Hollywood writer's strike started on May 2nd, which do I think it's good? I don't know if it was good or bad. They won eventually. Or did they really win? I don't think they did, and I don't think most of the people in the guild at this point. I just don't know where the talent is. Is it in the guild? I don't know. It seems like the guild has become too insular a clique to me, but um, there was stuff going on with a certain medical condition in 2023, I'll say. Most of it kind of faded into the background, YouTube. Um, so that was good, as many of the normies abandoned things like wearing a certain face covering, if you'll remember. Most people abandoned that. A handful of people still do it, but for the most part, it's gone. In New Jersey, the further north you go, the more likely you'll see a face covering, and the more likely that person is to be that kind of person. I'll say the kind of person who's still wearing the face covering and still worried about it. It's a shame, but fortunately, I think most people have gotten past it, at least down here. I'm still a little worried about people who took the certain medical procedure, but so far, everybody in my family seems to be okay. So I hope that trend continues. Um, May 6th, King Charles was crowned king. So that was a big event for the UK. And that seemed to go well for the Lotus Eaters. They seemed to enjoy it. I think it was kind of one of the few bright spots they had this year from the UK perspective. Unfortunately, they had a rough year. So it was good to see them excited about that. Joan, I'm doing a thing. Um, and what? You want to sit over here? What? You want to here? I'll pet your face. There you go. Don't ruin our nice list, Joan. What else? So May and June. Yeah, it was just nice weather this year. Doing events. All right, you want to go? You want to sit over here? What do you want? You're not making this a very happy time for me, Joe. And I continue to do shows, events, signings, pretty much steadily every single weekend. There were a couple of months in there I only got 3 or 4 shows, but for the most part I was steady. I was in Hamilton a lot, Cassiano's. I think I did Cassiano's 3 times. So I did the Fringe. I think there was an event early in the year, and then there was a Halloween one. Yeah, I think there was a summer event, the Fringe, some summer event, and then October. So that was good. I did. I discovered historical societies, and I did some events there during the course of the year. Some of them were in June and in the summer. Um, what else? Affirmative action ended June 29th, which I think is better. And I think that is going to help us hopefully get back to a merit based scholarship. it is also, I think, part of the reason colleges have become so, I'll just say, interested in race all of a sudden. Because that's gone, they're now more open about their obsession with race, I'll say. And because of that, they're being called out for a lot of things that they know they shouldn't do. So I think that was a net positive. Let's see. Then we hit July. A lot of July stuff. Barbenheimer happened. And that was a good thing for the movie industry. You know, Oppenheimer did well. Barbie did better for some insane reason. Twitter was rebranded to X, which was weird, very strange, but fun. Elon took over X or Twitter and kicked out all the woke tards, and now Twitter's it's all right. It's better. It's a lot better. I can now promote there and get some kind of feedback. You know, I'm paying for it. I paid for a year when Elon like offered it up for a year on a special price. So I thought I'd do that. That would be my advertising this year. I don't have a lot of money for advertising, but so far it's been fine. I can't monetize for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I'm still a little pissed at that. But overall, a net positive, I think. And I did Moods, Farm, Clement Farms. Oh man, I remember Clement Farms in 2023. So friggin' hot, I nearly passed out setting up my tent. Literally, I actually got swooned for a minute, and then I said, you know what, I better sit down and drink some water, and I did. And then I got my tent up, and no lie, it was so hot that day. That had to be the hottest day of the year. People just didn't come out because it was too hot. So Clements Farms was kind of a bust. Um, but and they were selling this really cool blueberry drink, which I never got a chance to get because you know you get kind of desperate when you're at these things and you're not selling much, and you're like, oh, can I leave my table? And I don't have anybody with me 9 times out of 10. But so I couldn't leave the table, and then the blueberry drink lady left early, and I was like, ah, damn it, I wanted a drink. But I made up for it at other events, including the antique place at Richland, New Jersey, where I think I did at least 2 events there this year. That was fun. That was a good event. Um, let's see. And then in August, what happened in August? India became the 4th country to land a spacecraft on the moon. So that's nice. That's nice. Again, there was more blueberry stuff. I went to Royal Crown Ice Cream, of course, in Hamilton. And that was delicious. This year in August, I'll be going back to the Bayshore Center to do a signing. And I did one earlier this year, the last day they were open, which was, I erased my calendar. I forget when it was. When was that, doggy? It was in December. So that was nice. That was fun. Oh, also in the summer was the last time I was at Mays Landing, Hamilton Mall, Level Up Entertainment, where I'm going tomorrow. And I think I sold 72 books that day, or 42. I sold a lot of books that day. I was very happy with that. I didn't want to leave, but, you know, everybody else left. And I said, well, I guess I'll pack up. I also met a really nice girl there who also wrote books about the Jersey Devil. And I don't know. I don't know how old she was. She was a little young for me. She was of age. You weren't that young, but I tried to chat her up, but I think I was too old for her. I think she was probably in her 30s, probably. But she was very nice, and I didn't do anything creepy. I just, I was just trying to chat her up, see if I could get that going, but it didn't work. But I did get a date online. I had a few dates with her. Didn't work out, but had something to do. Um, had just a date recently. That was nice. It didn't work out either, but what are you going to do? 57. When you're this age, it doesn't work out. Anyhow, it's really tough. No, it's a lot tougher because everybody's picky. Like the older you get, the more picky you get. You know, you do one thing, you're like, is that what I'm gonna have to put up with? Nah, forget it. Um, that's why you got to pick them young. You got to pick a girl when you're young, and stick with her, if you can. Ladies, stick with your guy. Believe me, the grass is not greener. The grass is not greener. But anyhow, that was the summer. Then we went into September, and things started to really kick off for me. I discovered the senior living centers would actually let me come in and talk about the Jersey Devil. In fact, next year, I have at least one or two places lined up, but I got three other places that told me, oh, call us back in January when we schedule this stuff. Because like two of them were just opening. The other one was like, it's too early, but call us back. So I'm very excited by that because they just outright pay me, and a lot of times they'll let me sell books to the seniors too. So it's usually a banner day if I go to one of those places. So I'm very excited for that. There were record highs in September, so it was nice weather. The nice weather continued. What else? I mean, I continued to do shows like crazy. I did the Vineland show. That's always a good show. The Vineland Library. I did another event in Vineland. I forget when, but that went well. I could say this year for all my events, even my talking engagements at libraries, which are a little bit hit or miss, they all went pretty well. Even the ones that were lightly attended, I still sold a bunch of books, or a few books at least. My biggest event was, I think it was September. I did an event. It wasn't like a senior living facility. It was a 55 plus, community. So they're older. They're like my age basically. And I gave a talk there, and they were really nice and paid me good, and so that was a banner night. I had 60 people show up for the event, so I was very psyched about that. I got in the newspaper a few times. My goal of getting on television was realized this year, but it's still not quite where I want to be on television. Like, I want to get on the local news again. But it's been tough. It's been really tough. But I did get on RVN TV, so that's something, although it hasn't aired yet. This is the website for the show. It's called All Things South Jersey, RVN Television. And season 1 is listed. They haven't started posting season 2 yet. So look for that. I believe they said Tuesday is when it's going to happen. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead for the biggest month of the year for me, which was October. October, I had a record 20 events. 20 out of 31 days I did events in October. That was a banner month. And I did well enough that the money has carried me through. It's going to carry me into next year, basically. I mean, I still made money, but I didn't make as much in November and December. But last year was a little better. But after doing 20 events, and I had that 8-day stretch where I did an event every single day. That was crazy, right? That was crazy. So I'm hoping. I already have 2 events for next October, so my hope is I can get things rolling in October. Scary Stories is on a Thursday? Is that right? That can't be right. I did Scary Stories this year in Asbury. I didn't do as many signings in Asbury this year for some reason. I got to get back to Asbury Park and do paranormal books again. I also missed out on Krampus, which I kind of wanted to do, but I had another thing going. It's hard to schedule things, but I'm happy to say I had so many balls in the air, so to speak, that I was able to pick and choose a little bit. And, some places I chose and said, oh, this was better. And other places I was like, oh, I should have stuck with the first one. But for the most part, it was a positive experience. I didn't get rained out in any events in October. Excuse me. It wasn't until November, December started getting rained out. I think I did get rained out. When was Pennsauken? Yeah, I think I got rained out in the Pennsauken one. Geez, I think I got that here. Where the hell was the Pennsauken one? Yeah, the Dragon Boat race. That was the Cooper River Dragon Boat race was on the 16th of July. And I got rained out so bad I was trapped under my tent. So that was a little adventure. Fortunately, I had a plan to save the books, and that worked out great because I saved them and they didn't get wet. They got damp, but they didn't get wet. Like, as long as they didn't get wet, it's fine. Um, it didn't damage them, I don't think, in any appreciable way. I was able to sell them. They're all gone now, so I hope they were fine. So I got trapped under the tent. So my plan was I used garbage bags to sort of insulate the books and like keep them from moving around and stuff, and keep something plastic on top of them in the box. So when it rained, I took those out and wrapped them around the boxes. And then it was raining so hard, I put them on my cart so they wouldn't be on the ground. Then the wrapped in plastic on the cart, and then underneath my table. And then I had to wait until the rain stopped enough that I felt like, okay, I can make it to the car. Because I was out on this island, which I had to walk to. It was a nightmare. That one I don't know if I'll do again. That was a bit dicey to do. Maybe if I catch good weather, I'll say yeah again. But I don't know if they'll even invite me back. I don't think I don't think they're mad at me for leaving or anything. But that one I sort of stumbled upon. But then I did another dragon boat race that went fine. That was in the Pines. That was at Lenape Lake, and that went real well actually, except for the mosquitoes. There was a bit of a mosquito issue there. And of course, I did places like White Spog. Did I do Smithville this year? You know what? I don't know if I did Smithville this year. I might have done it early in the year. So many shows. I don't know if I did Smithville. If I did Smithville, it would have had to have been at the beginning of the year. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I did Smithville this year. This was all the stuff from the beginning of the year. I did Lucille's Luncheonette. I think I did that 2 or 3 times. I did, this is June, and I did one in November. I think that was it, so maybe just twice. That was good. Always good at Lucille's. They treat me great there. They give me food. It's awesome. So then October was just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Historical societies. I did senior centers. I did Halloween events. Of course, Cassiano's out front on the street. It was amazing. Just seeing everybody in Hamilton. Great night there. I'm going back to Hamilton for the, this is January 4th. I'm doing the Historical Society of Hamilton. So they're advertising that. I'm in the Hamilton Gazette this week. I believe it's a weekly paper. So you can still find it if you're in the Hamilton area. So that's great. I know, I'm just talking about myself, but there's only so many positive events on this timeline. Although more than the ones on Wikipedia, I'll tell you that. A November Cricket World Cup. Australia defeats India to capture record 6th title. Good for you, Australia. So, yeah. November was a bit nutty. I didn't do as well as I normally did, but I was so flush after doing October, I kind of was like burned out. I kind of wanted to rest. But worked out well. I had to scramble a bit, but I got more dates. Um, and I got stuff lined up for January. So January's looking pretty good for me, and that's all good. Um, got to hit the ground running right after New Year's, but uh, it should be good. It should be good. Um, what else happened in November? That's when I was having my dates, and Thanksgiving was good. Had a good time that then eating. Love that. Um, nothing too crazy. December has been a good month for me. Did some events. Got rained out a lot November and December for some reason. Just finally the weather caught up to me and started hitting the weekends every single weekend. And I was like, oh no, the whole week would be dry, and then we'd hit the weekend. So I'll be back at some point to Oddball Vintage, which we got rained out twice. Valaris, I'm doing on January 7th, which also got rained out. So that'll be hopefully rain free. Um, and at the end of the year, I beat my record from last year's sales on Amazon. I beat most of the months. You know, it rates it by month and year, how many books you sell. So monetarily, I beat last year by about $50. So that's good. I mean, it's up. That's the important thing. Also released three more books, of course. Books 11, 12, and 13 of the Pineys. 13 being a very important book. It was a little tight on book 13. I'm working on 14 now. I'm trying to finish book 14 by New Year's. I think I'll be a few days over, but it should be fine. I'm pretty happy with the way it's coming out. And what else? That's about it, really. Um, Dating wise, it was good though. It was good for me. Previous year was pretty nothing. This year I had a little action going. Even on the dating apps there, I had some stuff going on. Shocking, I know. I had choices to make. That was really the shocking part. Normally I don't have a choice. Well, this girl's interested in me. Better go with her until something else comes along, I guess. No, that's terrible to say. But I actually had to make some choices. I'm like, oh, I don't know who I'm going to date here. Got people interested in me all of a sudden. A lot of people just ghost you, which of course happened just recently. But nice to even start the damn chat. That's part of the problem. Just starting the damn chat online. You got to strike first and start dating. That's my motto. If you don't start dating, if you're dating off an app, you got to start dating like soon. Like you can't do an extended text because at any moment, if you say one wrong thing, they're gone. They are gone. And if you have politics like mine, oh, they're definitely gone. Do yourself a favor, hide your politics if you want to get a date, because these women, man, they hate Trump. Oh God, they hate Trump. 99% of them, at least in New Jersey, they do. Ugh, they hate the very idea. But but yeah, that was fun. And I made some money that I could go date. That was the big thing too. That I'd come off of October so confident. I was like, oh, I could actually date some people. That'll be nice. In the movie industry, well, again, a certain medical thing finally died down, and the movie industry's trying to come back. Disney took it on the nose, but we all want that to happen, I think, at this point, just because other people will move up. I'm happy with what's going on in the Daily Wire because they made more movies. They made Lady Ballers. It was a huge hit and rated very well. and lots of people saw it. And finally, there's a chance for comedy to return. So maybe the Daily Wire is trying to fill in the niches that have been abandoned by Hollywood. Comedy, number one. Number two, children's programming. And they seem to be doing well on both fronts. They're making smart moves. I think it's smart to do the Snow White thing. I think it's smart they're doing a cartoon. I forget what it's called. Something about a chinchilla. And Lady Ballers was fun. I enjoyed it. So that's good. So I see a little hope there. You know, hopefully I could get in with some guys like at the Daily Wire. If not the Daily Wire, someone just like them. Hopefully, and get back into comedy again. You know, I was prior to, I'll say, 2016-ish, there was work in comedy freelance, and I was working it. Stuff online, there were websites and people doing skits. That all grind to a halt right around 2016. It's kind of amazing. Everybody stopped doing comedy. I mean, everybody. You know, for a while you would have these startups that would just say, oh, we're going to do our own version of College Humor, or we're going to do, you know, some version of Mad Magazine or whatever. And they would just start up, and 9 times out of 10, I'd be right there, the first in line, saying, I'll write for you. I've written for all the others. And they would go for about a year or two, and then they just collapse, but because they never can seem to monetize it very well. But that all stopped. That all just stopped around 2016. I have not really seen any comedy. They're just petrified, I think, a lot of these companies. And some of these were big companies that were doing it. I hope the Daily Wire does something like that. I think the only guys who came up were like the Babylon Bee. And they've been very funny. So I've been happy with them, reading their headlines every week on my YouTube show. So big shout out to them for not sending me a nasty email saying, hey, you're reading all our stuff on a video. I'm not reading it all, just reading the headlines. So that was good. What else happened? That's about it, really. That's about it. I survived another year. And that's, you know, if you survived and you got your health, I mean, what more can you ask for, right? You might be like, oh, my career's not going well. Believe me, I've been there. I used to complain about that all the time. Damn it, I'm funny. I'm a genius. Why aren't they buying my stuff? Why aren't I rich like these a-holes who do TV shows that I hate? You can't think of it that way. It's just a negative thinking. And then when you get into the business, if that's your dream as well, you realize how awful it is and how everybody's a Nepo baby or whatever, how it's all rigged. Just like everything else, it's all rigged. And, you know, you can blame rich people or whatever group of people you want. But the reality is, it's everybody. It's human beings. It's the natural inclination of human beings. So imagine you and your friends start some new thing, right? I don't know. Let's say you start some new genre that no one's ever heard of before and it becomes the biggest thing. Let's call it, I don't know. We'll call it the genre of a non-meta comedy. I don't know. I'm just making things up. So you guys start this genre and you start making money and everybody knows you for what it is and it's the hottest thing ever and other people just want to get in on it. And at first you're like, oh, okay, cool. Some of these people I want to work with, some of these people I know, and you bring them in. But very soon it becomes untenable because there's so much money involved. Everybody wants in. You have to start gatekeeping. And that becomes very difficult, right? And you start gatekeeping a little, and then people start to complain, and then, you probably said a bunch of things that you now regret, like, anybody can do this new genre. It's like, it's open to everyone, and now you're gatekeeping it because you realize now there's too many people involved, and it's diluting the entire mix. And as that gets bigger and bigger, you reach sort of peak new genre, and as a trend it starts going down, you realize, well, now we're making less money because we let too many people in. We have to gatekeep even more, and it just kind of spirals down like that, and you realize, you know, it was untenable to let everybody in the tent, so to speak. And that's kind of what happens in entertainment to some degree, because at first everybody's just happy to be working. And I think like a lot of people, you know, people in show business, whether it's rap or music, and whether it's writing comics or you know, they're having growing pains now in Comicsgate because so many people are into it that they're arguing amongst themselves about, well, who really is Comicsgate, and you know, who can say this or say that, and who can get supported, who can get a shout out. After a while, it just becomes untenable because everybody's in. You know, it becomes the hot thing. Everybody piles in. You can't organize it anymore. And then as you organize it, there are people who are like, oh, great. Now this is another whole tier I got to go through. I got frustrated with the last series of tiers I couldn't make through, and now you're putting up more roadblocks. And it's just the way human beings interact. So the example I always used, I heard through a friend that the guys who did the illustrations for Magic cards, at first they were getting royalties on their cards. And the reason they were getting that was initially the Magic card guy thought he would only print a million cards, and that would be it. That he would never print another card. The game wouldn't be that popular. It, of course, exploded. And when it did, the artist made a killing. So when they started doing more artwork, they quickly formed, I guess what you'd call a little bit of a guild, because they wanted to make sure they would get to do all the artwork, because they realized how lucrative it was. And they started to kind of, I don't know if you'd say they'd fight, but they would negotiate who would get to do what cards, and they kind of cut people out. They didn't leave it open to the best artists necessarily. They just wanted it for themselves. And on the one hand, you can say, well, that's greedy. On the other hand, though, can you not totally say it, right? You hit a big success and you're making money hand over fist. Why do you want to give it away to somebody else? Why wouldn't you want to do every single freaking card? I'll tell you right now, if I was writing a comic, there's a guy I know who wrote one of the major comics, and he signed a deal, and one of the big two signed him this deal to give him an incentive to sell more. And his comic hit way big, and he was making $80,000 an issue. Now, if I was making $80,000 an issue on a comic, you can be damn sure I'd be like, I want to do 5 more comics just like this one. I want the same deal, and don't you dare bring anybody else in. Because I would look at it as like, well, I've hit this success, and I want to keep it, and I want to grow it. So, you know, don't let that get you down. I know I went off on a huge tangent. I was talking about white pills, and now I'm talking about hierarchies and whatnot. But don't worry, because it's a new year, and as I like to say, new year, new possibilities. I'm looking at my calendar that I keep right here. It's a blank calendar that you can erase, and then I write all the days on it, and I write all the stuff I'm doing so I can see it all in a year and kind of map out things. And a lot of it's blank now, although it's already filled up. I already got all these dates, and you can see them on my website. And it's just great to see, you know. It's just great to be able to look up there and go, oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff. I got enough dates to, you know, sell enough books to keep me going. So that's what I would recommend for those of you starting the new year. Get yourself a wall calendar or a big calendar where you can see the entire year. And you could, you know, write out things you're doing weeks from now, you know, and you could chart things. Because the new year is just how many days away? 3 days away. 3 days away. 3 days away, we'll be in 2024. And I know you're worried 2024 is going to be crazy. It may be. Yeah, there's some economic indicators that may make it a rough time. And I won't sugarcoat it. The Democrats may try to literally destroy the economy, so Trump has to spend 4 years just getting us back to zero. That may very well happen. But that doesn't mean it necessarily has to impact you all that much. No. And it doesn't mean that when you come out of those 4 years that you won't be better off for it. You know? Good things will happen. Remain positive is my biggest piece of advice for the upcoming year. Always remain positive. I know it's corny to say, Joan, but remaining positive helps you in ways that, I was always very negative. I was always when I was in school, I was the insult artist. I was always the antisocial one. I'd have a frown on my face and go F yourself. And I would rip people, and that was my shtick. I was very negative. I was always self-deprecating. I was funny, but I was very negative. And that took its toll on me to some extent. It made me not want to do certain things or try certain things. And I was often very miserable in my personal life. And then it got so bad, I had a bit of a breakdown, and I decided I would change my life. And I adopted what I called the Costanza method, which George Costanza from Seinfeld said, if every decision I've ever made was wrong, then the opposite must be the right thing to do. I think Jerry says that to him in a diner. So using that logic, I said, okay, instead of being very negative about everything, I'm going to only interpret it in the positive as much as I can. So when someone came to me and there was a negative thing, like, oh, we can't take your article, or, I can't meet with you this week, or whatever, instead of being instantly like, oh, well, these people hate me, or, I'd always think this incredible negative thing. Instead, I would turn it around and say, well, what's the most positive explanation? Well, he's obviously very busy this week. That's all. He doesn't want to put off the meeting with me, but he has to, and now he's calling to apologize. Right? And when you put things in that perspective, that positive perspective, you feel better, and things are better. I don't know, it's weird to say, but it really did work. And just after a few weeks of doing that mental gymnastics, I could feel the weight lift off me. And I wasn't miserable anymore. And I was more focused. And things just got better. Things just got better. And, as I did that, the progression of things getting better slowed down a bit. Because I could only get so positive after a while. But, eventually it started to snowball. And now I'm at a different level here with the Pineys, that I go to events and people say stuff to me like, thank you for what you're doing, which is really nice to hear. When somebody thanks you for showing up and promoting your books, it's just amazing. They thank me for talking about the Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens and sort of keeping that world alive in my own little way. And when you have people thank you like that, you're just like, wow, I'm doing something right here. I don't totally know what I'm doing. I'm not totally making enough money yet, but I'm on the right track of something. And I am confident that you out there, whatever you're working on, you'll find that thing. You'll find that thing, and you'll get that gratitude. And on that day, you'll be like, I'm doing something right here. And it's good. It's a good thing. All right. That's my white pill for the year. What's coming up? Tomorrow, the signing, of course. That's Saturday, the 30th, right? And then we got the 31st, which is New Year's Eve. So on New Year's Eve, my plan... Oh, wait. No, when is it? When is New Year's Eve? No, it should be the same day as... okay. So tomorrow's Saturday. Right. So Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to do the live stream. but I'm going to do it until midnight is my goal. Okay? So I'll probably start it late. Maybe I'll start it at 9. So that way it'll be 3 hours. Does that sound reasonable? I mean, I guess I could do 5, but that might be a little much for me to do. Yeah, so my plan is to ring in the new year. I'll have to find something on TV to watch. Maybe I could get. I wonder if anybody will have a camera in Hamilton, because instead of dropping a ball, we drop a giant blueberry. Not an actual blueberry, but like a big light that represents a blueberry. So maybe if I can find that online somewhere, I could get a picture of it at least and drop the blueberry. Or maybe we'll drop something, Joan. We'll get you. We'll drop you. No, that would be silly. I'll think of something, but that's the plan for Sunday for the live stream, New Year's live stream, and we'll ring in 2024, and hopefully it'll be very positive. All right, that's it for me. Sorry for the ramble. Sorry for the tangent. We'll see you tomorrow.